Something that most people assume is a gimme, but a lot of people really have never spent a lot of time looking at it, is proper sight alignment. And like you would imagine, proper sight alignment is pretty important when it comes to hitting what you want to hit with your handgun. You want those sights, so the front sight is where you focus, you want it perfectly centered in the rear sights, and you want it perfectly in line with the target. So what you're doing is there are four things that you're lining up. You've got your target, you've got your front sight, you've got your rear sight, and you've got your eye. When all four of these things come into line, you can't help but hit. Just remember to focus on the front sight, and that will split the difference for your depth perception, so everything else will remain in as focused a state as it can. Before you shoot, something that's always important is to take a nice deep breath, let about half of it out, and then momentarily pause. At that point, that's when you're going to squeeze your trigger, and your body will be stillest at that point. Now you'll notice I've still got the trigger depressed. That's part of the follow through. When the gun cycles and picks up another round, the trigger's still to the rear. I've just fired. I'm going to let the trigger off just a little bit till I can hear and feel the searing gauge. At that point, when I fire again, there's a minimum amount of travel on the trigger that's necessary. If I were not to do that, not follow through, and you start with your finger out of the trigger guard, and then you fire, you've got all of this motion that you have to take up before you get to the sear engagement. Fire, let off, and then you have to do that again. By following through, keeping the trigger to the rear, the only motion that you have to fire again is this. And the more motion you can cut down, the more apt you are to be able to stay on your target. At least that's something that we found helpful. So remember those simple fundamentals and practice them. Breath control, you can take a nice deep breath at home, let most of it out, momentarily pause, and see how still you can be for that short second that you're minimizing your natural arc of movement. It's something that you can practice and get better with. Your sight alignment, you want those sights, so the front sight is where you focus, you want it perfectly centered in the rear sights, and you want it perfectly in line with the target. If you'd like to speak with some of our instructors, if you want to book some instruction, if you want to look at our massive line of firearms, if you just want to come in and talk guns, you can visit us at 179 Maine Road in Holden. There's a MiG fighter jet in the parking lot. There's room there for you too. You can also visit us online at mainemilitary.com.